Welcome to this Functional Skills Level 1 Maths training video. This video contains information and guidance on Criterion 8, read, write, order and compare common fractions and mixed numbers, and on Criterion 9, find fractions of whole number quantities or measurements. At Level 1, and by the end of this session, you should be able to read and write common fractions and mixed numbers, order and compare fractions and mixed numbers against each other, and find fractions of amounts, numbers and measurements. Reading and writing common fractions and mixed numbers. When something is divided up into equal parts, it can be shown as a fraction. There are two parts to every fraction. The top number, the numerator, shows how many parts you have. The bottom number, the denominator, shows how many parts there are in total. For example, Sarah has 4 squares of chocolate. She eats 3 squares. What fraction did she eat? Sarah has eaten 3 out of the 4 squares, so it is 3/4. Here are examples of some common fractions and what they represent. Halves. If you imagine a cake that has been cut into 2 equal pieces, the 2 halves make one whole. To write 1/2, we write 1/2. Quarters. Here the cake has been cut into 4 equal pieces. We call each piece 1/4. To write 1/4, we write 1/4. Fifths. And here the cake is cut into 5 equal pieces. We call these fifths. To write 1/5, we write 1/5. Mixed numbers are when whole numbers and fractions are combined into a single amount. For example, 2.5 is written like this. The bigger number on the left shows the whole number and the rest is the fraction. Here's an example of how it looks if we have 2.5 cakes. Improper fractions are just another way of writing mixed numbers. Let's look at a mixed number like 3.25. To see how this looks as an improper fraction, we carry out a couple of steps. The first step is to multiply the whole number by the denominator. So here we multiply 3 by 4, which gives us 12. The next step is to add this amount to the numerator. So 12 plus 1 equals 13. And finally, we put this number back over the denominator. 3.25 as an improper fraction is 13/4. Now it's your turn. Write these fractions and mixed numbers. Pause the video while you have a go. Then press play to check your answers. Let's check the answers. Pause the video while you do this. To order and compare fractions and mixed numbers, sometimes we need to change how they look. Here is an example of a mixed number 7/3 and an improper fraction 2 2/3. Initially, it might not be easy to tell which of these values is larger, but if we convert them to the same type of fraction, we can compare them. This time, let's convert the improper fraction to a mixed number. So we need to carry out the reverse of the process we did for converting a mixed number to an improper fraction. The first step here is to divide the numerator by the denominator. So we divide 7 by 3 and get 2 with a remainder of 1. Now we can place this back as a mixed number. So the 2 becomes the whole number, and we put the 1 back over the denominator. So 7/3 is 2 1/3. So back to the original question, we can now accurately compare 2 1/3 against 2 2/3, so we can now select 2 2/3 as the larger value. Sometimes you will also need to convert between fractions and mixed numbers that have different denominators. Here are 2 fractions, 1/2 and 3/4. To accurately compare these, we need to convert them so that they have the same denominator. The first step is to find what we call the lowest common denominator. All this means is the lowest number that both denominators can be divided into. The denominators we have are 2 and 4. Both of these numbers are factors of 4, as we can see that 4 divided by 2 equals 2 and 4 divided by 4 equals 1. As 4 is already the denominator for 3/4, we can leave this as it is. If we're changing the 2 in 1/2 to a 4, we need to do the same thing to the top as we did to the bottom. To get from 2 to 4, we multiply by 2. If we do the same to the top, we multiply 1 by 2, which gives us 2. So 1 over 2 becomes 2 over 4, or 2 quarters. We can now compare this against 3 quarters and see that 3 quarters is larger than 1 half, or 2 quarters. Now it's your turn. Order and compare the fractions and mixed numbers in these questions. Pause the video while you have a go, then press play to check your answers. Let's check the answers. Pause the video while you do this. Finding fractions of amounts mean using a fraction to find a portion of a certain number or measurement. For example, a question may ask what is 3 quarters of 140. There are several different methods you could use to do this. One method is to divide by the denominator, then multiply by the numerator. So, in this example, we do 140 divided by 4, then multiplied by 3, which gives us 105. Another method is to convert the fraction to a decimal, then multiply this decimal by the amount. To convert the fraction to a decimal, we divide the numerator by the denominator. So 3 divided by 4 equals 0.75. Then we multiply 0.75 by the amount in the question, 140, and that also gives us 140. Now it's your turn. Pause the video while you have a go at these questions, then press play to check your answers. Let's check the answers. Pause the video while you do this. Let's try a couple of exam questions. Pause the video while you work out the answer to this question, then press play when you're ready to continue. Here's the answer. Here's the final exam question. Pause the video while you have a go, then press play to check your answer. Here's the answer. Let's recap what you've learnt in this video. You should now be able to read and write common fractions and mixed numbers, order and compare fractions and mixed numbers against each other, and find fractions of amounts, numbers and measurements. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.